Hi everybody, Mark from Northeast Bass Fishing, back with another video today. Ever since I did the Finesse Fishing 101 video, I've had a lot of requests for different finesse tactics that you guys realize I'm a jig fisherman, right? All these questions about finesse fishing, but in all honesty, I pretty much do it both. Do it all. I do a lot of finesse fishing now, more than I did when I was younger, when it was a jig or nothing. But all these questions about finesse fishing, what's going on here? Don't you guys know me? When I go through some of the finesse swim baits that I have that I would consider more finessey swim baits, so I realize I got a pretty good amount here. So I'm going to show you the ones, if I'm going to throw those smaller baits, the ones I'll use, and the ones that and how I rig them up. But it's pretty simple fishing, really. Some of the ones I like now, probably the one that's my go-to. I know if I'm going to be doing, some really super, finesse fishing, swim bait fishing, is probably the Keitech, the 2.8. And this is just the Keitech 2.8 swim bait. It doesn't get any simpler than that. On a small jig head, on the trailer of maybe one of your finesse football heads, like that open water sniper from Beast Coast, makes a great trailer for that. On a drop shot. One of these, like I just pulled out a few different jig heads, on one of these small Keitech tungsten jig heads, this little guy, can catch you a lot of fish. And this black color is really very, very good. So, like I said, it doesn't get any simpler than that. A 2.8 Keitech, I think that's an 1/8 ounce Keitech jig head tungsten. Doesn't get any simpler than that. Spinning setup, 6-pound line, I wouldn't go any heavier. 8 maybe. I would go for 6 or less. And you're just slow rolling it. Especially in this colder water, springtime, fall. If the bass are on bait, it's a good way to go. And there's a ton of different colors you can throw of the Keitechs. I'll just show you. This is my box of 2.8s, the different colors I have in here. And you can, like I said, you can throw it on a drop shot. Just throw it on one of these ball heads. And it doesn't get any simpler than that. It doesn't get any simpler than that. But like all things, we have lots of options to choose from. Now, maybe you could say the Keitech is the most popular. I would say it's one of the most popular. I'll just show you a few other ones here that I would consider more of a finesse swim bait type bait. Let's see what I got here. Another very popular version, or one to use, is the Megabass Spark Shad. 3-inch bait. This is that purple haze color. And I think I have this other one here open. I grabbed 2 of the packs off the shelf that haven't been opened. That's a baby bass color. You could throw that the same way on that ball head and just slow roll it. Just slowly swim it through the water. Especially if you get fish that are suspended. You see on your graph where they're suspended at, and you run these through there. The Spark Shad is another great option. I just happen to have a couple of these. Now these are more on the bigger side. These 4-inch Scottsboro tackle. These small 4-inch shads. I have these rigged, and I know I've shown you guys some other videos. These were actually old ones of those baits I had laying around that I kind of brought back to life with this tush head. And that's that core tackle tush head. Just a small tush head, 3/16 ounce, 2-aught hook. If you've got these smaller 4-inch swim baits, to me, I don't think I'm going to really talk about anything bigger than 4 inches. These swim baits on that head really work well. And I would consider this is actually on the hover rig. This is the one that's on the tush head. Hover rig and tush head. You kind of see it through the plastic there. I don't know if I pulled any hover rigs out. But, I would say a 4-inch bait or smaller. Now, I could throw this, since it's a little heavier bait, I could probably throw this on casting, but for 95% of these here, you're going to throw on spinning. I just happen to have those rigged up, so I thought I'd show them to you. And that's that Scottsboro. They do make that 4-inch version. If you want to get a little smaller bait, it's a good one to try. It's a little more durable. It's not as soft as the Keitech. Doesn't have that big wobbling tail action. All right, so I showed you the Megabass. Let me move some of these so I don't show them to you twice. Let's see. Speaking about Beast Coast, you guys saw the old, if I could talk, the old Chaos X shad, which is a nice. It's very similar, at least in my opinion. The body is kind of similar to that Megabass Spark Shad. If you guys still have these around, these are great to use. I throw those in the boat every now and then, but their new version, I wouldn't say it's a new version of that. It's just their new finesse swim bait, the Slow Flow. That 3.8 inch is great. And if you want to go really finessey, the 2.8 inch, you could use that. And you guys have seen me do videos on these before. And I'm sure you can hear the dogs barking upstairs. But that 2.8, if you want to go real, that garlic smells awesome. Did this just on that little jig head that I just used before? If I could find it. That Slow Flow, that 2.8 on this little Kitech jig head, killer. And this plastic is a little more sturdy than the Kitech. But you just rig it the same way, just go through the middle of the bait, and it's got that cavity that you just go through the top of the head and then cinch it down. And these look really great in the water. That 2.8, 3.8 Slow Flow. If you want to go finesse swim bait fishing, that's a great option right there. Great option. Put that back in the box. Hopefully the dogs will stop barking soon. You guys can hear that in the background. They have no pity for video making. I don't think they care at all. But the Slow Flow from Beast Coast is great, and I pulled a couple other ones out. That Dope Gill color is awesome. The 2.8 and the 3.8. That Alewife color is really good. So I think there's some other colors I got too. No, actually, I think those are the three I got, but that'll change this winter. We'll have all of them. If you want to go, now, I guess you wouldn't really classify this as a swim bait. I know I've shown you these before. If you guys have ever thrown just a grub, the Grubster from Lunker City, and any grub you like, will work. Now, these I think are 2.75 inches. Yeah, so this is even less than 3 inches. The Grubster is really just like a mini swim bait. It seems like I'm using that Kitech head because it fits perfect on all these small baits. And this little 2.75, if the bait is really small, the fishing is tough, and you just want to throw something around to get some bites. And this plastic is a little more sturdy. You're not going to have that huge tail action. But that little 2.75 Grubster from Lunker City, any grub that you like, a little ball head jig, I just happen to use these Kitech ones, works great, And just fish it really just nice and easy, nice and slow roll it. Sometimes you can throw them down to the bottom and swim them back up and get bit that way. But the Grubster from Lunker City is a nice option. You guys can see that. They called that one Goby, that color, which I thought was pretty cool. You guys have never seen the Grubster bags before. That's what they look like. I think I've shown these to you on other videos. A real good option. The Swing Impact from Kitech is a great bait. I throw these on small underspins sometimes. They work great. If you've got mini underspins, it's another way you can rig these small. Actually, maybe I'll hold on. Take some of my Wicked Weights underspins off the rack there. Maybe I'll show you how I rig those up with one of my finessey ones here. I think I have some with a small enough hook. Let me see. I know I've got the 3/0. Let me see if I have any with a 2/0 hook. If not, these might be too big. Oh, that's a Ned. Those are Neds. I don't know if I have any of the ones from Jim that are as small as I'd like. I could probably get away with a 3/0. But for these ones, I would go with a smaller finessey underspin for these small swim baits. Let's see. Oh, I know what I want to show you. Now, even a big swim bait, like the little creeper, which is very realistic. If you guys like throwing bigger swim baits, the little creeper is but they have a small version, which really looks cool in the water. And just thinking about this video, I realized when I opened these up, I said, man, I have not thrown these in a few years. I should really get back into doing it. I want to see how these work with that tush head. I haven't tried it yet, but I would imagine that that small tush head will work good with these 4-inch little creepers. That's just one of the weighted swim bait hooks, you know, with the screw-on head. I just happen to have that rig. But, you know, this little guy looks great. It's very realistic. Very realistic. You could rig it on a ball head. Here's another color here. I forget what these colors are, but the little creeper swim bait in this I believe this is a 4-inch size. I would classify this as a finesse, more of a finesse, even though you've got that big tail. I would consider this more of a finesse swim bait. So if you like those realistic swim baits, the little creeper is one you might want to look into. I'm going to let you know how I make out next year on that, using that tush head. I haven't tried that yet. For you guys who like 6 Sense, they're Divine swim baits. The 3.2 is a nice finesse size to use. And they have bigger sizes, but I got the 3.8 out and the 3.2. You know, it's almost like when we're talking finesse, I'm almost thinking the 3.2 here. Now, these are not as soft as, let's say, a Keitech. It's a little harder plastic. You're not going to have that big tail kick, but they're nice looking swim baits. I don't use them as much as I did when I first got them. I've just found other swim baits I like better, but this is not a bad option. They're not overly expensive. Just make sure I rig it right for you. But just on that little ball head, a nice little setup for you. Oops. Oh, there's the. I knew it had that slot on the top. That's that 6 Sense Divine swim bait. That little 1/8 ounce head. Oh, what color that is? Candy grass, I think. Yeah, grass candy color. Really cool. It's a nice option. It's not going to have that big tail wobble. It's a little more of a compact. When it's colder, these types are probably better. But whenever I go out and I'm throwing these kind of swim baits, I'll just bring a few different kinds. I'll bring some of the Beast Coast. I'll bring some of the Mega Bass, the Spark Shads, the Keitechs, and I'll try all of them. See what they like better. Sometimes they may like something with a little less action. That's when, you know, the harder plastic ones are better. But they're all good. They all catch fish. You just have to find the one you like the best. I have ones I have more confidence in the others, but they all catch fish. But that's that Divine swim bait in the 3.2. You can get in the 3.8. I have bigger sizes back there. I mean, I could just do one video on every one of these brands. We could show them to you. Let's see. I've got a couple more here I want to show you. The old Berkley Ripple Shad is another nice one, which is inexpensive. This is a 3.5 inch size, and they have a bunch of different sizes. That's the 3. I brought the 3 out and the 3.5 in a couple colors to show you. That's the this one I really like, that greenback pearl and that 3 inch. These can work really well when you've got that fall fishing, colder water, when the fish are kind of lethargic and all the bait is small. If you guys have never seen the Ripple Shad, I'll show you the 3 inch one here. And much like, it's even smaller than that Divine. So a small hook, ooh, that eyeball there has moved from, that eyeball is supposed to be over here. I don't really know how much the eyeballs make a difference on swim baits. I don't know. And if I get them sometimes and they start to fall off, I might sometimes just push them back in spot and they stay there. Or you can just put a little glue on there, little mend it, and they'll stay on. But these, you're going to have to use a small hook, like a number 1, not even a 1/0 probably. I don't even know if this guy, little guy here, is that 3 inch on here. I'm sure it would have fit. You just don't want your hook going too far back, and you're going to lose, you know, some of your tail action. But if you want something really finessey, these little 3 inch size, I usually use, if I'm going to throw the Ripple Shad, the 3 inch is a little small for me. I'll go with like this 3.5. This is that gold black backs color. 3.5 I think is a little better. I just like a little bigger size, because this really is not that big of a bait. That's a cool color. That looks really cool in the water, this one. This is one of my favorite colors they have of this. And like I said, it's a stiffer plastic. So when you've got those colder water conditions, the fish are getting a little... I wouldn't drop shot with these, they're just too stiff. But the Ripple Shad is a good option, and if you want to save a little money, they're a little cheaper than the other ones. What else do I got on the table here? I showed you all those. Oh. Back to Megabass for a second. The Hasdong Shad and the 3-inch. I think they make a 3-inch and a 4-inch. I don't know if they make a... Do they make a 5-inch? I don't know. I'm drawing a blank in my memory if they do or not. But since we're talking finesse, you don't get much more finesse than that. Now this on a ball head, it's got to be a small one. I tend to drop shot these more than throw them on the ball head. I'll throw the 4-inch one, right? But you can throw it. You can find a size 1 hook that you can work with that. I don't know if they recommend on here what size hook to use, but it's got to be something small. But let me fix these. I don't want these tails to get mixed. But that's that Hasdong Shad. It's a really cool little swim bait. I tend to go, if I'm going to throw a small one, go to the Spark Shad more. But these have their time and place. If they're on small bait, you could do a lot worse than throwing this one around. And that's what it kind of looks like in the pack there. I don't know if that's... I actually still got all 8 of them. I haven't lost any of them yet. I'm surprised. But the Hasdong Shad from Megabass, another great option. That's like that green pumpkin chartreuse, which is a really nice color. A disco stain is a nice one. So if it's tough, it's really slow, and you're out there, finesse swim bait fishing, this is not a bad option at all. None of these are a bad option. But like I said, you got to fish what you have confidence in. So you got to go out and try them all, and see which ones you do well with. And every day is different. Some days they might like a lot of action. Some days they might like just a very subtle action. Strike King, the Rage Swimmer, is a nice option. This is a 3.25-inch size. You can do the 2.75-inch. Here's a couple more. That's a 3.25. These are nice swim baits. I'll throw these in the boat every now and then. It's a little bigger one, 3.75. It's pulled off the shelf there. But the Rage Swimmer from Strike King is a good option. I know Berkley has other ones that I don't have. I don't have a lot of Berkley stuff. I don't just have a lot of their swim baits. And the last thing I pulled out, we were talking about Z-Man on in some of the comments the other day, that I was like, I keep ignoring all my Z-Man stuff when I talk about like Neds and stuff. It's like I've forgotten about them. They have, and I kind of like these little packs they have. I just take the baits of theirs in there. The TRD, the minnows, is a nice option for you. It's a very subtle. It's got a weird piece of plastic. I guess that's its little eyeballs. But the little minnows from Z-Man. Now I tend to use this more drop shotting, because you're not going to get any a super lot of tail action for it. But I would classify this as a finesse swim bait. But I tend to use these more for drop shotting. I don't know if I've really thrown them as a Ned. I don't really remember. But it'll probably work. And you get that Elastec, so it'll last all day. But the minnows from Z-Man is another option if you want to go finesse. You're going to drop shot. I wouldn't really consider this as much of a swim bait, because the tail action is not a lot. But if you're looking for something that's minnow-like, but for drop shotting, and they got a ton of different colors. I'm just going to see these. I can show them to you very well. But a video is coming up just on the Z-Man stuff that I have, because I got a ton of it. But I don't know if I've thrown other Neds in the last couple of years, and I haven't thrown the TRD as much. Not that it isn't great, but I just haven't thrown it as much. There's just so many options with Neds now that I've kind of gotten away with some of the newer ones, and that hollow tip worm from Sematus, I kind of like that. But I think that's everything I wanted to show you guys. That's just the ones here. I'm sure there's a ton of other companies that have, you know, nice finesse swim baits that guys are saying, oh, you didn't mention this one, you didn't mention that one. I know. These are the ones I have right now. And there's always more coming out. And we, you know, I always see something that that piques my interest, and I want to give it a try. Especially, you know, with the show seasons coming this winter, I'm sure at the outdoor show, some of the companies will have some of the newer stuff that's out, and I'm definitely gonna stock up on more of these because this one is really starting to get into that at the end of the year. This little guy here, it's pretty good, pretty good. So if you haven't checked that one out, check it out. That Beast Coast, that slow flow. But these are all good. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. I have more confidence in one, and probably just because I throw it more. I tend to throw those Keitechs. That seems to be what I go to first when I'm, you know, if I'm going to throw a small swim bait, that's what I go to. But at the end of the season this year, now that I've got these, I started throwing this more, and I did pretty well too. So they're all good. It all depends on what you like and what you have confidence in. But that's it, guys. So just to kind of sum it up, if you want to do some finesse swim bait fishing, get yourself some slow flows. Try both sizes, the 3/8, the 285, the 3/8. Try them both. See what the fish prefer. Grab yourself some Keitechs. You can get the 2/8s, the 3/2s, I forget all the different sizes. There's lots of different of those smaller sizes. You know, get yourself a couple of jig heads of your choice. I just tend to like these Keitech ones because they're tungsten, so the ball is very small. It's not as obtrusive on the front of the bait. It's a good hook. And get your spinning set up, and you can fish it from the shore, you can fish it from a boat. It's very simple fishing. It's almost like really like you're just throwing a finesse crankbait. That's what you're doing. You're just taking it and just slow rolling it. Let it out, get close to the bottom, just slow roll it along there. And when you find the depth of the fish, it can be really good. It can be good. I have found that probably for me personally, the springtime, maybe it's close to spawn time, these small swim baits are just killer. When the fish are starting to move up, they're making beds, they're around the nest. When you start just throwing these along the shoreline, you could just catch fish, you know, a fish on every cast in some places I've been to. I'm not going to mention the names of those lakes though, but pretty much anywhere you go. In the springtime, if you just throw these small swim baits around the shoreline, you will get bit because there's a lot of fish moving up in the shoreline. You'll catch all types. You'll catch bass, you'll catch perch, you'll catch crappie, you'll catch bluegill, everything. But that's it. Like, so any questions? I'll throw a few links to some of these baits if you guys want to check them out online. If there's something I forgot, post it. Like I said, I love when you guys give me comments, and it gives me ideas for videos. I think the last 3 videos are thanks to you subscribers, you know, commenting on videos and giving me ideas for new stuff. And that's good because it's winter. The more ideas, the better. So that's it. How many videos I get in between now, excuse me, and Christmas, I don't know. I'll try to keep them rolling until Christmas, and then I'll probably, you know, not have anything new for a couple days. So if I don't talk to you guys, have a great Christmas and New Year's and all that, but I'm sure I'll talk to you at Christmas. I have a feeling that, who knows, I might get some things for Christmas that I might be able to do some videos on. Who knows? We'll see. I know I sent my Tackle Warehouse wish list to a lot of people. We'll see what happens. But even if they just give me gift cards, you know I'm going to order from that too. But I'll keep you guys posted. So if I don't have a video, a new one between now and then, Merry Christmas. But I'm sure I probably will get in a couple more before then. So I'll see you guys soon on YouTube. Mark out.